Hey, what's going on, team? Hey, it's after work, so my voice is a little bit scratchy and raspy, so I apologize for that. But today we're going to take a look at Mr. Inferno and Mr. Tricranius, and they come together to form this like Pyromancer. And in the second half of the video, I'll actually tell you a story about a Pyromancer, not real, because Pyromancers and wizards are not real, I think. But let me show you this build first. So first of all, we have this kind of extended, I don't know what type of gun this is, but it's extended. And he has this cool like posable bullwhip going on over here. And in the back, you can see that this can blossom out into this like mace. And once you extend this, you can attach the little stinger, the bullwhip on there as well. So I think that's pretty cool. He has these like hidden gimmicks, just like the normal Inferno does. And then we have this cool little wizard hat, which is, it's my favorite part of the build. Love that he has a little wizard hat. That is so cool. I gave another dude a hat as well. I'm trying to remember who that was. But yeah, I love that little hat. The build is extremely easy to make. I mean, this just right over here is, the Inferno gun with Tricranius leg plugged in, the big one, and he's just holding it right there. And this one, the whip, is again a big leg. The hip connector is then just a small leg and the tail, right? And then in the back, we just have the whole torso and the hip covering just kind of plugged in to that port back there. And on the top, this is just the Tricranius dino head plugged into a small leg, and that's just plugged into his back. It's a very easy to recreate. Let me just do that right now. And so that story I was going to tell you about, because this video is probably going to be a little bit short, is that, I mentioned that I work in the gaming industry. I've been working in the gaming industry almost for like 20 years now. And yeah, I told you I'm old. I'm a fossil. And so I've been in the game for a quick minute. And I used to work for Sony. I worked on PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. And in the PlayStation 2 days, this is when the online system, I'm going to show you how the bullwhip works. This is when the online component of PS2 was kind of coming about, and not one of the first games, but there was a game called EverQuest Online Adventures, which was it was one of the first MMORPGs on console, and it was a PlayStation exclusive because it was right there. That's not bad either, right? That's not bad either. It was developed by a group called SOE, Sony Online Entertainment, and published by SCEA, Sony Computer Entertainment America. And if somebody hears this story, I bet you they'll know who I am in real life, because this is a very, very specific story. So anyway, we were testing the build. We got a new patch that introduced some new characters, and Pyromancer was one of them, a new job class that hadn't been in the game before. And we were on a public test server, meaning like it's a test server. It is live though, it's public. So if you want to check out like what was in the works, you could actually jump on, which I thought was really cool. I don't know if it was by invite or not, but it was a public test server. And so, so people are testing out the new content. And me and a buddy of mine, we were testing out the two new wizards. One was Pyromancer, and the other one was, maybe it was Geomancer. And I was the Pyromancer. And so people see me running around. They've never seen this class before, and they start messaging me, right? And they know I'm a GM, because like I said, I have a job class that doesn't exist in the game yet. And they're messaging me. And actually, the questions are about like, are you a GM? Is that a new class? But a lot of them are talking about, hey, the grind is too hard. The grind is too much, for the new level cap, the grind is too much. And so we got enough feedback where I was like, hey, let's not focus on the Pyromancer for a second. Let's actually focus on the level grind. So we took a look at it, and we kind of felt that there was some merit to what people were saying. And so what we did is we introduced an NPC, a stationary character named Mr. Buff. And all you had to do was go talk to Mr. Buff after hitting a certain level, and then he would buff you up to like another level, basically give you tons of experience so that you can test out the later stages of the game, and also check out the later stages of the game and check out the higher level version of the character that they were playing and whatnot. And, I can't get this to go straight. Oh, there we go. Whatever. It's going to be good for now. And so, so we had Mr. Buff, right? And one of the things that we could do as GMs is we could speak as any character, whether they're player characters, somebody's character, or an NPC. we could basically assume that character's identity and just like talk like them and stuff. And so Mr. Buff was just out in some like random part of the field, and Mr. Buff was just in a random part of the field, or maybe he wasn't. Well, that's not important to the story. What's important is like we decided that we would assume the voice of Mr. Buff, and there's tons of player. You know what? I just can't get this guy to stand right now. I'm gonna take this all off. There are tons of player characters around him, and so we assumed the voice of Mr. Buff. But not only did we do that, we created a player character that my friend controlled, named Mrs. Buff, and she came by, and then she started talking to Mr. Buff. She's like, "What are you doing always out here?" She's like, "What are you doing out here? Always buffing characters." She's like, "The kids are asking where their daddy's at," you know. And then everybody's kind of like laughing and stuff, and that's when I assumed the voice of Mr. Buff. And I was like, I'm out here trying to earn a living, you know. I'm trying to make money for us, you know. You think those weapons and armaments come cheap, you know? Like, you think those spell books are cheap? Like, I started just going in, you know. And my friend and I were just cracking up, and the people are cracking up too. But then like some people, party poopers, they got upset, and so they hit up. I guess they had some connections on the inside, so they hit up some members of SOE, and then in real time, my boss gets a call, and I could hear him in the office because I sat kind of close to him, and then he comes out and he's like, "Who's on the test server?" And I was like, it was me and my buddy, and we just looked at each other. We're like, us, and he's like, "Who's doing this Mr. Buff thing?" And I just raised my hand. He's like, "Stop it." I was like, "Okay," and then we just stopped basically. But when we stopped, people. There was a bunch of people who were like all about it, and they're very upset that we had to stop. But yeah, some party poopers tattled on us. They threw rat, and we had to stop all those shenanigans. But it was fun, and it was just on the test server anyway. It didn't really mean anything. All that content's getting wiped. But anyway, that's my story about the Pyromancer. All right, thanks for listening. Have a good day or evening or whenever this finds you in space time. Take care. Bye.